I'm Sheryl Plouffe with your weather forecast details. And of course, we have some rainfall on the way, but that's likely not to roll in until the end of the weekend. I'll give you specifics on the timing of that in just a moment, though. First, must-see video from now. Of course, we're getting into that time of the year where we've got to really be mindful of storm potential. Our own storm chasing team, Mark Robinson, Jacqueline Woodall, are headed stateside to chase storms. But here's how they decide on the timing of when to leave. And you know what? That trip will be here before we know it. I'm sure they feel the same way. So we've got a lot of different programming initiatives here at the Weather Network coming up. So storm hunting, yes. We also have Earth Action Week next week. But there's also Emergency Preparedness Week, which will be here just around the corner. Here's Mike Arsenault. We have some nice mild air both today and tomorrow. Not too bad. This is the current weather pattern that we are seeing, where it's a little bit cooler across the west, but this pattern is actually reversing over the next week. When we look at our highlights for Sunday, it will be a little bit cooler, some brisk winds picking up too in advance of the rainfall. Likely late Sunday, the rain will come in, and for the drive into work on Monday, some periods of moderate, maybe even some heavy rain at times, a bit uncertain in terms of the amounts at this point, but we'll be watching for that probably in the range of 15 to 20 millimeters of rain. But look at the pattern change. By the time we get to the end of April, beginning of May, we'll have some cooler air upon us. The current weather pattern that we have right now with the mild air is going to be switching. In fact, by this time next week, we'll have likely some cooler air really building in across the Great Lakes, and I'll tell you more about your forecast in just a moment. This is a must-see video, though. We often talk about Peggy's Cove, you know, in Nova Scotia. A lot of people head out because they want to see those storms, but it's so dangerous to do. All right, let's get into your forecast now, and heading outside first with Kevin Yard. And styling too. Thank you very much, Kevin. Let's take a look at our short-term forecast about Sunday, and some cooler air is on the way. When we look at our winds, though, it's not terribly strong, but it's mostly a southerly or westerly flow today versus yesterday. It was predominantly an easterly flow. In fact, we had temperature contrast from down at the lakeshore versus inland by about 7 or so degrees. So colder, I should say, at the lakeshore. When we look at our look ahead, this is where things get interesting because we have a break for, you know, the weekend. Sunday is a little bit cooler, but then this rain comes in. Yes, it does bring us some slightly milder air, but there will be some persistent rainfall, probably in the range of 20 millimeters. Wouldn't be surprised, but notice that it could even last for the better part of the early start of the week. So quietly in the atmosphere, there is a pattern change that's underway. So the warmth that we are experiencing will be no more by next week. We've got some single-digit values coming back to us. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. Let's, though, go to the U.S., where the storm season in the U.S., and that means that our storm chasing team is going to be heading there to do their annual storm chasing adventure. Let's turn it over to Mark and Jacqueline as they decide on what date to leave. Yeah, there are lots of indicators for sure, and we've got a lot of special programming coming up here on the Weather Network, that of which is one. Let's turn it over to Mike Arsenault with another great initiative. Very nice, Mike. Congratulations on that. We do have some stronger winds at times nearer to the lake shores. In fact, yesterday these arrows were facing from the east. It was an easterly flow, kept our temperatures down near the lake shores, significantly cooler down toward Vineland and down in Toronto Island. 10 degrees versus inland, it was more so in the teens. The Saturday look ahead, we have calm conditions, high pressure, Sunday looking good. And it's possible that this could be a multi-day event. The temperatures are going to follow suit with some cooler temperatures by midweek. Yesterday, we hit at Pearson 15 degrees. Now, closer to the lake shores, it was a lot cooler with that easterly wind. It wasn't terribly windy, not like it was in Chita, Russia. And you know what? We have had a switch in wind direction, in fact, and that will keep us pretty mild for the next couple of days. Let's turn it out to Kevin Yard, who is outside. Well, the weekend doesn't look too bad from the perspective of sky conditions, actually. Looking at our short-term forecast and morning temperature by next week for daytime highs. So today and tomorrow, that mild spell, that pull of mild air from the south. We've got storms yesterday. There were lots of tornadoes reported in Kansas and Texas, but we are going to be looking at some evening showers late day Sunday. The bulk of the day, just some slow increased cloud cover, and then the rain moves in overnight Sunday through Monday. Periods of rain, some winds at times with this, but it's brisk and it's still cool on Tuesday. In fact, by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of next week, our daytime highs will likely be in the single digits. So when we look at the pattern from April 22nd through the beginning of May, it's cooler for us and it's warmer. Look at that big ridge of high pressure. So this is the kind of situation where Whitehorse and Yellowknife will likely be a lot warmer, possibly warmer than even for Toronto. We sometimes see that with that type of pattern. And for May at this point, again, this is just to give us a trend. Then we start to build in that warmth once again. Temperatures yesterday still pretty impressive. We were in the mid-teens, not too bad. We are going to be seeing much cooler temperatures. And also just to mention that Ottawa and Montreal might even hear some rumbles of thunder through the overnight tonight. Must-see video. Let's go stateside, though. In fact, Tornado Alley, our storm chasing team are making their last-minute preparations to head down to Tornado Alley to do their annual storm chasing trip. And we're going to be, of course, documenting that. Well, they'll be documenting it while they're down there. And, of course, we have Storm Hunters special programming that airs here on the Weather Network as a result. Low pressure system, this is a merger and acquisition here. Two low pressure systems come together. We have rainfall coming in to southern Ontario by Monday. Northern Ontario, some rain as well. In fact, Thunder Bay could be getting 25 to 35 millimeters, but when we get it, we're likely to see more in the range of 20. It does cool down to the point here where, depending on timing, notice the overnight lows. With this timing, it could even be, dare I say, wet snow in the case of Hamilton. So something that we have to watch for sure. Oshawa, okay, temperature's not bad tomorrow, starting the weekend off. Great barbecue weather here, but rain arrives on, I'd say, overnight Sunday through Monday. The morning drive on Monday will be a wet one, and that rain could persist until the midweek. Barrie, tomorrow, sunshine and a high of 13 degrees.